This right here is a practice board. You can see on the outer edges there are resistors and capacitors of various sizes already soldered on. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be soldering a resistor here. I'll show you how it's done. And then using hand soldering. And then I'll also add a solder using the hot air and show you how that is done. And here are the resistors I will be adding. Now, to do this, it helps to have some tweezers. And I have two types of tweezers here. I have the flat precision tweezers, and I have the curved ones. And I find that these curved ones work the best. I am wearing gloves because the flux I will be using is very sticky. So first thing I need to do is I need to get these resistors out of this packaging. The packaging is basically a cardboard strip with a little plastic film. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove this plastic film, just scrape it off and pull it back like so, and then the part should fall onto the table. I'm just going to release a couple of these. 1, 2. They are tiny parts. To successfully do surface mount components, you need some kind of magnification. I am using an AmScope microscope to look through. I'm using webcams to film this, so I can't really zoom in very well without losing focus. So here's one of the resistors. Right there, you can see it's really tiny. They just like to bounce around, so you got to be very careful when you squeeze them. And I'm trying to flip them over to be. There you go. So here are my two resistors. Okay, let me get the board aligned to where I want to solder. I'm looking through the microscope here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the fume extractor on, because we will definitely need the fume extractor. I already have my soldering iron heating up. And I will get some flux. And what flux does is it allows the solder to flow onto the solder pads there. So I'm just going to put a little bit of flux on there. Just going to a little bit. And next I'm going to do is I'm going to tin my soldering iron. And I will be rubbing this against the pads, and the solder will stick to the pads. So you can see I have a very nice solder balls on both these on these 4 pads here. I'm actually going to turn the board. Since I'm right-handed, I want to be soldering on the right side of the pad here. So, using my tweezers, I'm going to grab onto one of these resistors. Notice how I'm holding it in this angle with the bottom end of the resistor pointing downwards. See, I'm going to tilt it to the side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the resistor where I want to solder it. I'm going to go just down just a tiny bit more. I'm magnified 10 times here. I'm going to place the resistor where I want to put it. I'm just going to heat up one of the solder pads, and I just accidentally let go. My hands are so shaky, isn't that funny? And then the resistor's in place. It is not perfect. You see it's a little misaligned. I'm not too worried about that. I'm going to turn the board around and find that resistor. And in holding in place, I'm going to solder the other end. So Now that end's soldered. And a little trick that I've learned is if I use the hot air, it will remelt the solder and the resistor will flow back into its proper place. So let me just turn the hot air station on. Tell it to go up to 370 degrees. So let's do it. Well, this is warming up. Let's put another resistor on. You don't want to squeeze the tweezers too hard because then the resistor will go flying and you'll never see it again. It will be on some other planet. I'm just using my naked eyes right now and I can't see what I'm doing, so I'm going to have to look through the microscope. Perfect. And you'll notice that one's on perfectly straight. Tilt the board around so that, see what I'm doing. And where is it? There it is. So I solder the other end of the resistor. And that is on. That is a perfect job. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit more flux so that this will flow better. And using my hot air, the solder is going to remelt and the resistors are going to flow into place once the solder remelts. At least it should. Come on. There we go. And you see that resistor straightened up? That is beautiful. Now we can also place the resistor just using the hot air also. So let me grab another one of these resistors and place it on this pad here. So I'm going to place this resistor on these two pads. And of course it not properly placed just yet. Right now I'm just using my eyes. It's much better under magnification, trust me. Okay, it's on the two solder balls. So all I need to do now is grab the hot air gun. And let me show you the hot air gun real quick. This hot air gun. You just do not want to touch the metal part, that's for sure. It will immediately burn you. And just run the hot air over that resistor. And the solder, one side already melted. Up there we go, beautiful. And it just popped into place. One of the things about the flux is it's very sticky, so you do want to clean it up. And to do that, I'm going to use some 91% alcohol here. I'm just going to pour some into this little cup here, and get just a Q-tip and just soak the Q-tip and just clean that up. And get it nice and clean. Oh yeah, beautiful.